Okay, welcome everybody. I am so glad you decided to come. Our topic today is how to reverse engineer a high conversion landing page. My name is Catherine Aragon, and I am the managing editor of the Crazy Egg blog. And I have with me today Brian Massey, the original conversion scientist, and he even has the lab coats prove it. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here. This is
Oh,
awesome.
it is exciting. So here's what we're going to do today. Brian is going to be teaching us. This is a fantastic presentation. I was begging him to do it for us. And then we will do a Q&A and then some landing page reviews. Some of you gave us the URLs to your landing pages, and we're going to go over some of those. And then stay tuned, because at the end of the webinar, I have a special download from Brian that I'm going to be giving you. So, you ready, Brian?
I am ready.
Okay, let's go.
Well, I'm glad you guys joined us. Let me make sure that you are seeing my slides. Hopefully you are seeing now the periodic chart of conversion elements, a few of which we're going to be talking about today as we reverse engineer high converting landing pages. Basically, I'm going to go over why landing pages are so powerful. I suspect many of you, if you are on a webinar like this, already know the advantages of landing pages, but it never hurts to level set us. How to build the landing pages backwards, and this is a really powerful way of going about it, and it prevents you from introducing things that are going to be working against your conversion rate. So I think Catherine gave me a good introduction. I won't spend too much time on me, but definitely, guys, go visit the Conversion Scientist blog at conversionscientist.com. And that's where we're publishing all the stuff that we're learning about landing pages, mobile websites, redesigns, forms, everything you can imagine, all of the elements that really make a high converting website work. So let's just level set here on what a landing page is. It really only has two identifying components. Number one, its job is to keep a promise. People come to landing pages from an ad that you've posted, from a banner ad, from an email link, or a link on social media. They're coming to a landing page from a specific direction. That's how it's very different from the website, in which anybody can come through via search or through directly typing your domain in. A landing page is catching traffic that has a specific promise attached to it. The promise found in a link, an email, as I said, or an ad. So the most important thing that a landing page can do is keep that promise. That's why homepages are terrible landing pages, because you make a promise, send them to a landing page, and the user has to search your site to find the thing that they were looking for, the thing that they were promised. The second thing that makes a landing page is that it is really designed to get the visitor to take action. So we make offers and promises out on the internet so that we can bring people in to become a lead for our business or to buy something. So landing pages keep the promise, take action. That's what we're focusing on, and really almost nothing else. The reason that landing pages are so powerful is that we can design for specific visitors. In other words, we know something about why these visitors are coming. We know what the promise was in the ad, so we know what our landing page needs to deliver. And this is what allows us to really deliver on those goods, give the visitors what they want, nothing else, and get them to take action. So what are the components of a landing page? Well, we start with what I call a clear solution of web page. And we mix in a couple of components. We mix in a couple of compounds, offer and form. If we combine these right on this page, that's all we need. We've created a landing page. So the simplest landing page would look something like this. We've got a page, a blank page, a clear, pure solution of web page. And we have an offer, which in this case is submit, and we have a form. We don't want to start with this sort of thing. We don't want to start with your corporate template, because you'll find out very soon that this introduces a lot of contamination that prevents the web page, the landing page, from keeping the two promises, they're doing the two things that it does well, keeping the promise and focusing on getting the visitor to take an action. So we've got an offer of submit. We've got the form, which is the simplest form, is a button. And we should be done now, right? Well, maybe not. A better offer than submit would certainly help. We found that as an offer, submit really only works in the marketplace of the dominatrix, in which submit is actually what you are trying to buy. So Other than this, we really do need to come up with a better offer than that. Picking out what your offer should be is very easy on a landing page, because what's the first thing a landing page has to do? Keep the promise. So the landing page's offer has to match the offer made in your ad, your link, your email, your social media post, whatever it is that brought them here. You've made a promise. The landing page has to offer to keep that promise. If you offer a discount, you come to a landing page that talks about discounts. You offer a product, you come to a landing page that focuses on that product, etc. So let's take a real quick example. Let's take something that should be an amazing offer that everybody would want: discounted dollar bills. We've got a couple of search ads here, A and B. The first one says discounted dollar bills from the leader in dollar resales, www.mint.gov. And our landing page offer says discounted dollar bills. Click here. There's a nice match there. We've made the promise and we've kept the promise on the landing page. If we look at ad B, discounted dollar bills, 50% off new US dollars from the leading reseller, there's going to be a disconnect. So these sound very similar, and this landing page may work. But if we really wanted to make this a powerful landing page, we would make the offer match. And in this case, get US dollars 50% off is a very specific match to that offer. So this landing page is going to perform better because it does a better job of keeping the promise. Here's an example from Zumba Fitness. I saw this ad out in the wild and thought, wow, I would look pretty good in this outfit. The new Wonderland collection sounds exciting. Here's the landing page they took me to. So there is nothing here about the particular outfit that I was looking at. The girl is different. And there is no mention of this Wonderland collection. In fact, you can see in the screen capture I did here, I actually typed Wonderland in the search blank, and I didn't find anything on Wonderland. So this is not a positive experience. This is not keeping the promise. But the colors do match. And if you're doing banner ad advertising, you want to keep in mind that you want to use the same design and colors. You want to use the same models, or at least show the same products on your landing pages that you're offering in your banner ads. So we've taken our first few steps, and now we're going to do something that's a little bit dangerous. We're going to ask a designer to help us improve our very simple landing page. Now, if you bring the designer in and they start talking about putting bay windows and curtains and frills on the side, and, oh, we've got to add all this corporate marketing stuff, you just need to beat them back with a stick, because they will destroy the process. Remember, we're building this backwards from the offer forwards. But a good designer who uses their knowledge of placement and font and white space and things might do this. Why don't we put the offer as a headline, makes it really readable, and we'll just put a call to action on the button. So this landing page would work very good for this particular ad offering 50% off new US dollars. The problem is that clicking on this button doesn't do anything for us, right? We need an action that helps the business. That is the second thing that a landing page is totally dedicated to. So we could collect an email address and follow up with email and see if we can get this person, the people that visit this site, to buy our dollar bills. We could ask for an email address, and if we wanted to make sure we had good qualified people, we would specifically ask for permission to send them stuff. We could ask for a credit card number, or if we were bold, we might even ask them for their friend's credit card number, whatever it takes. The problem is that you can't ask just for a credit card number. You have to have name, address, city, state, security code, expiration date, all of these things. And something has happened now with our landing page. We've introduced a contaminant. This contaminant is called abandon. And in the periodic table of conversion elements, we give it the same symbol as the element argon on the elemental periodic table that scientists use. And the reason for this is that because if they leave your site, if they abandon, then they are gone. Trust me on that. So our goal is to minimize abandonment. And that's what we're going to talk about doing here. This is where we get the copywriter involved. So we have shown them our landing page offer. We've shown them what we need to do. And we say, you need to help us overcome the objections, because we're asking for a lot of personal information now, even though it's a great offer. So in my example here, I imagine our copywriter came back and said, yeah, I don't need to write a whole lot. Why don't we put a good subhead, a couple of reinforcing bullet points? People know who the mint is. People know what a dollar bill is. We don't really need to sell them on that. So he came back, he or she came back and said, from the leader in dollar US resales, you can trust us. Why not spell it out? Of course, we'll talk a little bit more about this in in proof, genuine, new, still in circulation, and more coming soon. So we've got some copy now that makes people feel a little bit more comfortable taking action, reducing our anticipation of abandonment on the page. So now I want to talk about some things that you can mix in. And when you're doing a chemical reaction, and the same happens in marketing, there are certain things called catalysts that don't actually react with the other elements, but they help make the reaction go faster or help it burn hotter. And we want some of these in our landing page equation because we want more people taking action immediately. The first of these is trust, and we're going to build some trust. If your brand is known to visitors, make it prominent, but there are some other ways that you can build trust. So for instance, you can borrow trust. I'm sorry, you can use the company's trust. The United States Mint, the logo looks very official. It's got the seal on it. So I think that the logo here is a trust builder. In most cases, you're going to want to use your company logo as a trust builder on the page. Whether you're a known brand or not, this is your stamp saying that this is our official page and you can trust us. Another thing you can do is if you're asking for credit card information, go ahead and put a MasterCard, Visa, American Express, and Discover. Even if you take every credit card, and this doesn't matter, this is not as much an informational issue as a trust issue. You're borrowing trust from familiar brands on the page. And at a glance, I can say, oh, well, if these big financial companies are willing to put their logo on the page, then I feel a little more comfortable about moving forward. You can borrow trust from your customers. In this case, the government sells a whole lot of dollars to Japan and China, and so they thought that this might bolster their credibility on this particular landing page. You can also use associations that you're a member of. Use those logos. The Better Business Bureau in certain markets, especially local markets, will work fantastically for you. The trust seals that your site is secure. So McAfee is one example of that, VeriSign, SiteSafe, some of these things. So these are pretty easy ways for you to make people feel comfortable entering their stuff. The second catalyst we're going to talk about is proof. Now, proof is how you reinforce your claims. So we have this one claim on here, you can trust us. That may not be enough. I went back to the copywriter and said, what additional proof could we put on here? And they came back and said, how about we tell them how many we've sold? And as it turns out, if you're going to do proof, the more specific you are, the better. So if you say over 500 customers, it's not going to carry as much weight as saying we have 514 customers. If you say hundreds sold, is not going to matter as much as saying 215 sold. So we want to be very specific with our proof. Anything you can do in which you've won awards for customer service, is if your product has won awards, any of these things are proof that support you. Any studies you've done that would support that you save a certain amount of time, those are the sorts of proof points that people are looking for. Case studies act as another source of proof. Now, on a landing page, you don't want to be linking off to case studies, but you can be doing summaries. So we've got these two catalysts built into this. Just to put a bow on this, a couple of more things you might consider as testimonials. Those are great indicators of trust. And certain kinds of proof are certain kinds of elements are both a little trust and a little proof. Ratings and reviews are both trust builders and provide a certain amount of social proof that your claims are what you're claiming them to be, hence the name claims, I guess. The last element we want to mix in is image. Show the product. Marketing 101. No one is going to take action on your landing page until they have seen themselves taking action, until they have experienced what it's going to feel like to have taken action on the page. So we can all imagine owning a bunch of dollar bills, but why not go ahead and show them? I worked a stock photo in here. It's not very hard to find pictures of dollar bills, and we're pretty familiar with them. So I dropped this picture on there. Images are as important as copy, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But keep in mind that you should be spending as much time on your images as you are on your copy. You want to avoid the cliche things. So there's a little test I have. Go and look at your landing pages, and if they have stock photos on them, try to write a relevant caption. So if I've got a landing page with shaking hands on it, what is a relevant caption for that? We want to do business with you. Well, what visitors are looking at is they're going, we know why you want to shake our hand. It's so you can start sending us invoices, checks, not a really compelling part of your value proposition on a landing page. And what is this? Would the caption on this say, this is one of our well-trained and helpful employees? Well, we're good at seeing the difference between stock photos and real photos, and we're going to know this is not an employee. So basically, a caption like that would be a lie. More likely, this would say, we have happy, smiling faces on our page to make you feel better about taking action. And any graphs you got that don't illustrate a proof point, get rid of them. I mean, up and to the right, up and to the right. That's supposed to be good, right? But people get that you're manipulating them. We call this business porn. This is stuff that is filler images. Designers love to just drop them in there. That doesn't carry any weight, doesn't move your value proposition forward. If it doesn't help move your proposition forward, it doesn't belong on a landing page. I mean, we can tell the difference. Here's two examples of real people used, in this case, used in a testimonial scenario. But even a very highly produced image like the one on the left there, the woman on the left, that's a real person. And the fact that her name and company name is right below her lends it the value. If you really want to knock it out of the park with pictures of your employees or your customers, go ahead and put their name or put their title in the picture or as a caption. So we've got a lot of stuff on the page now, and the call to action, which is the most important or arguably second most important part of a landing page, is going to disappear. We got a lot going on here. As I said, the headline in this case is how you're keeping the promise, and the call to action button is how you're enticing visitors to take action. So there's a few things we can do to make sure that that call to action button is important. When someone comes and scans your page, we want it to be very clear that we're asking them to do something. So we're going to expand the button, make it brighter, and we're going to add a better call to action. Before we were saying, get your discount dollars. Now we're going to say, get your discount dollar bills. Nice big button. Really pops on the page. If you want to know the secret to what color your button should be, as long as it doesn't match your page's color format, the palette of your page, it needs to stand out, then it's a good color. If you have a red and black page, you want a blue or a purple button. If you have an orange and green page, then you want a pink or a blue button. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to screen back some of our trust symbols. So in this case, we screen back to gray, the customer logos. This keeps them from competing with that call to action. And you can see that button is now much more visible at a scan. Arrows work great, believe it or not. Arrows in almost any form. I've seen situations in which people have used a paragraph that the lines got shorter and shorter and shorter, forming an arrow, and that actually got more people to convert, more people to scroll on the page. So use arrows. So we got all of this stuff, right? We've got all of this stuff on this page. Now is when we invite the designer in to use their drafting capability. What we want the designer to do is to create a visual hierarchy. We want the visitor to see the headline, that it matches the offer. We want them then to see that there's a call to action, that this is a page asking them to do something, and then take them through in a very logical way the copy, the images, and things that we're providing on the page. Designers need to be using their knowledge of font, color, space, white space, placement, juxtaposition, captions, those sorts of things. We don't need them coming in and redesigning things. Here's an example from one of the folks, the Harley Finance submitted this. And as I'm reading through this with more than 25 years, every time I start reading, something moves. If maybe there's a little bit of a delay on the video, but the Our Partners bar is moving. If you want to make something the most important thing on the page, make it move. Our brains are wired to make sure that when we see movement, we make sure it's not something we can eat and not something that's going to eat us and not something that we can mate with. Something that moves is the most important thing on the page. And in this case, we don't want this to be the most important. This is just a catalyst component. So we're going to take this rather crowded design and hand it to our designer. And what I actually did is I went over and visited the folks at Unbounce. They have a number of proven landing page templates, and I just chose a very simple one. But you can see that this incorporates an arrow in a very stylish way. The box, blue box around the form, highlights that. The fields are large and can easy to fill out. The button is the right color and it's popping. We've used some graphical elements to highlight the main proof points that we've got there, and then a different font and a larger font to highlight the proof of how many were sold. Even the logo for the company was placed in a kind of a stylized box to make it pop a little bit more. The headline was made much bigger and the subhead was put right below that. So these are all good decisions that a designer might make, so that my eye goes, boom, I see that headline. Boom, I see the form. As I'm scanning around, I'm going to come back and look at the image. I'm going to scan through those bright bull bullets. I'm going to get the entire message with all of its trust and proof, and it's going to be very clear what I need to do next to take advantage of this. So this is the whole reaction. Offer form, the catalysts of proof and trust, add the image in there, add this to a pure solution of web page, not an existing template, and you should have the start of a high converting landing page. If you've got good products, a good offer, this page should do very well for you. And this is where you start testing, because every audience is going to be a little bit different, and you want to find the right combinations of copy, image, proof, trust, and form that are going to make this work for your particular audience. Catherine, if you want to put up the offer, I guess everybody's over on YouTube now, so they're probably not going to see the webinar jam offer, but you can actually go and go to this link. I've got an ROI landing page ROI checklist. This you should be able to fill out and hand to your designer and hand to your developer. It even has a couple pages on the end in which they have to sign it and promise that they won't introduce anything like this moving partner bar, that they're just going to take what you're giving them. They're not going to add or subtract, and they're going to make it as they're going to do their best to get the visitor through the page. So I hope y'all will download that and certainly send me some feedback on that if you like. So we're going to dive into some live critiques. What I like to do, I've kind of spun through that, is just take a few minutes. I want to do as many of these critiques as I can, and we had a lot of submissions. Thank you guys very much. So what I did is in the selections, I really favored those that were landing pages. I got a number of home pages as offerings, but I really wanted to look at landing pages because home pages don't really have a promise that we can key on. Here's one of the first I came across. So this is a company called Jive. The URL is right here. And let's go through and see what they have. So the first is an offer. Now, when I look at the first thing I'm going to see on the page, the eye is going to come here to this bright green thing, and then it's going to see this headline sticking out. Jive is the easiest to use business phone system. Now, the problem with this is that this is a posing point that requires proof. This is not an offer. I think the headline should make an offer. And in fact, the text that you use on the button, if you're using a form on the page, should be related to the headline. That's when we find the best results from our call to action text that would appear on the button here. So I would say Jive is the easiest to use business phone system is a pretty poor offer, although they do recover it somewhat with contact me with a quote. And that is the offer. So the offer is repeated here. It's here. And then it talks here a lot about products. Well, what is this landing page about? This landing page is about a quote of Jive via IP, right? So what this page should be selling is the quote. What is going to happen when I fill out this form? Who's going to contact me? Are they smart? Do they know what they're talking about? Are they qualified? Or am I going to get a sales pitch? Am I going to spend 15 minutes with them? Am I going to spend 30 minutes with them? Are they going to make my search shorter? Do you understand how this copy is what we call wee-weeing? It's talking about Jive and it's better than other providers. It doesn't say anything about what's going to happen with the quote. Now, as you're talking about the quote, you can say, we're going to give you a quote on Jive VoIP that while appears comparable, it is not comparable to other competitors. And you're using the features of the products as proof points for the quote. So you're convincing someone to buy the quote, but you're using the end game of that they're going to get a quote on a very nice phone system out of it. So I hope you understand that distinction. Always sell the offer. And it's okay to bring in information about the company and the products as support, as proof points. So this does a great job of proof. It's all claims. I don't really see. I take it back. Here's a nice trust symbol. So we're rated 5 stars by Software Advice. So this is some nice trust building. I'm sorry, proof of the claims that are made here. Although there are a lot of claims being made there, so a little more proof might be good. Good trust here in terms of a testimonial. If you can provide an actual picture of the person in your testimonials, it helps significantly. But good that they've got the name and a company. Testimonials answer the question is, will people like me do this? So I feel pretty good that we've got good proof points. I'm not seeing a lot of trust building. We've got the company logo up here, so at least there's something there. But are there other things that could bolster this that might improve our chances? I'm not seeing image clouds. Does that mean this is a cloud service? Maybe that's so. Clouds become very popular since everything's moved to the cloud. But I don't know that this moves forward the value proposition of having a phone conversation with somebody, completing this form so that I can have. So I'm going to say, Now let's look at some argon. Where are some sources of abandon? Well, this was done with a clean solution of web page. There are no other offers on the page except to call, which is completely valid because phone calls are usually much more valuable than form fills. In another presentation, we can talk about how you get more people to call. So I think this page does a great job of not distracting people, sending them away from the page. So offer, form, we definitely have the form here. First name, last name, company, email, phone number, number of employees. So the rule with forms is the more fields you have, the lower your conversion rate is going to be, but the higher the quality of your leads is going to be. So you really want to balance asking for things like number of employees, which for someone who's not that serious, they may say, well, I'm just not going to tell you that. They may go away, but the people that are serious buyers are going to say, yeah, I'll tell you that. I can see how that relates to what we're going to be talking about. In certain situations like number of employees, you might use in the copy that tell how many employees you are and we will have a quote for you in 5 minutes. So you're giving them a reason that you're asking for this very personal information. So all in all, I think that this is going to be a great start for this company. Better image, whatever that may look like, maybe a picture of one of the employees that you're going to be talking to, and a stronger offer at the top of the page will make this page go out of the gate even faster. Let's look at this. So I chose this one because this is a very common long form, long scrolling, flat design, big image at the top style landing page. We're seeing more and more of these. In fact, I just did a judge of 47 WordPress templates and they all look like this with 1 or 2 exceptions. So this is where designers think that we should be going. I don't know. At the top of the page, and actually the only part you see when you first visit this is the picture. You don't even see these proof points at the bottom. The fold comes somewhere along here. But what I like about this is at the top, we have almost all of the elements. Body language for entrepreneurs is the offer. Enroll now, the button and the language and the headline are close enough together that I think they work together to make a complete offer. But body language for entrepreneurs, is that a workshop? Is that a book? Is that an artistic dance of some sort? So offer might be a little bit more. This would be something I would definitely test, but I think the offer is there. Form is very simple. Enroll now. That tells us pretty much what we're getting into. So I would say that qualifies. Do we have proof? We've got some nice proof all up here in the top. 56 reviews, 3,800 students, 5+ hours of video content. This is a great use of proof. These are the sorts of things that really make you say, wow, these guys are legit. Trust. Do we have any trust builders? Well, yes, we do, right here below. So this scores well on the trust endpoint, and we've also got the Udemy logo up here at the top. And image, what are we selling here? We're selling a course, but it's all about the teacher. in this case, and too often people who are giving webinars and things fail to put the speaker front and center because that's what we're buying. She's a lovely lady, and both men and women alike will say, I think I'm going to enjoy having her for 5+ hours teaching me about body language. This is a great use of image. This image is large and it loads slowly. This may be hurting you on slower connections and maybe hurting you on mobile. This is the way these style of landing pages are working today. What I love about this, though, is that the bulk of the landing page, all the components are above essentially above the fold. I can continue to scroll for people who are more skeptical, people who need more information, and get a lot more information, more detailed information about it. But the product at the top is complete. So I think this was probably one of the stars of the bunch. Very well done. Incidentally, this competing image here, actually, it's not really clear at first glance, but this is a video, and you click on that and a video opens, but it doesn't take you away from the page, doesn't take you off to YouTube or anything. So the video opens and you get a firsthand experience of this person. And so that's why this person gets a double check plus plus, because a video is image just at 30 frames a second. So using video as your image is an alternative. They don't just have to be standard. They don't just have to be standard stock images. Real quick glance at the middle. We've got risk reversal. So risk reversal is an important trust builder. 30-day money back guarantee. Spell it out. Don't just put a little star on there. 100% satisfaction guarantee. Those are not working as well. To say exactly what your guarantee is. Will you pay shipping both ways if it's a product? There's also in the middle of the page where this lands a repeat of the offer and includes the price and everything. Enroll now. And this is something that's important, what we call a dripping pan. And that is at the bottom. If somebody has read all the way through your page, especially one of these long ones, they've really consumed the content, you want to repeat the offer at the bottom. Body language for entrepreneurs, enroll now. Always include the dripping pan, because the dripping pan catches the juice that makes the best gravy. And that's really what it is gravy. On mobile sites, this is doubly important because the bottom gets as much attention as some of the hotter portions of the rest of the page, because when we're scrolling, boom, we hit a bottom and we're stuck looking at that page. So very, very important. A+ for this page. Great job, guys. This is one that I came across. I just wanted to point this out. So they actually submitted several landing pages. This was the only one that was on there, and there may be some regulatory reason that this is on here. But when I came to the page, the first thing it says, where do you live? Well, I just want to learn about a university. I'll worry about whether I live nearby or whatever. And the copy doesn't really help. Please tell us where you live so we can provide you with the most relevant information as you use the website. If you are at BFPO address, I don't even know what that means. Basically, I'm like, get me out of here. There is no way to escape out of here. If you click here, nothing happens. You are boxed in, and your experience when you actually go in is this. And I hope you all are able to see this animation. But this is a list of, what is this, hundreds of countries that you can choose from? Close to 100 probably. So not only do I have to answer this question, but I have to scroll through this, and whatever country you're from, your feelings are always going to be hurt if you're at the bottom, like in my case, the United States. The United States, we feel like we should be at the top of the list because we're so important. All of this is going to be working against you, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it. I chose this one, and I chose this one because those of you that are running e-commerce sites, what are your landing pages? Well, for those searches that are looking for a specific kind of product, your product pages are the landing pages. Your category pages are often landing pages as well. So you really want to see if these rules apply to your product pages. And we're going to focus on that. We've got a nice product here, the top of which needs to do very much what like that last landing page did, and provide everything. So we've got an offer, which is the Adams 25-inch single sink vanity set in black. We've got a form, add to cart. We've got some interesting, by the way, if your copywriter and your technology team can do this, scarcity is a very interesting psychological component, psychological catalyst. It's on the elements of high converting, the chart of high converting elements, but didn't want to work things like this in because this is really different for every audience. But consider that if you can tell how many are in stock, how many people are looking at this property right now, etc. Part of the offer is the price. It's a very important part of the offer. So the offer is there. Obviously, price has to be on a product page. I also like this proof point, which is this is saving $251. So when you post a price on there, what you're saying is that our price matches the value. But of course, if somebody's selling the same thing for a lower price, then that's not true. So when you show discounts, this is commonly done is like with the full price crossed out and the lower price listed. These are really considered proof points, always important. And then there is all kinds of supporting proof and risk reversal here in this. I don't know if these particular icons is the best idea. They seem to get a little carried away. And these important points, this green on white background, probably harder to read. Save 10% on orders over $4.99, no sales tax, free shipping, personal service from real people. These are all really proof and trust builders, risk reversal. So I think that that's great. I think they're in a very good place. Maybe even if the add to cart button was closer to these, it would help associate that action with these trust elements. And as specific as you can make the offer. So whenever you're shipping something from the web, part of the offer is when you're going to get it. So estimated delivery date, Monday, June 1st through Monday, June 8th. Awesome. There's an attempt here to create some scarcity, which, in this case is backfiring, but this may be an older website that's not in circulation, but the sale is over. So because this countdown clock, which could really be working in my favor, is zeroed out, I can't trust anything on the page now. Did the price go back up? Am I going to pay $251 more? This is where people start adding things to the cart and seeing what happens. So I think that this is just a technical glitch. As far as image goes, with products, the higher resolution images you can have and the more you have, the higher your conversion rate is going to be. I think that these are good images here, so they do a good job of providing images, and every product page should. Now let's look at the argon. So argon is what's causing abandonment. And since this wasn't a pure source of web page, we have some navigation here. Now this is a product on a catalog product site. So in almost every case, you're going to have navigation on your landing page. And in some situations, we find that adding navigation to a landing page, even though it introduces abandon, increases conversion rate. In some cases, it provides the trust that I'm a part of a company website. So every audience is different. I would certainly test that. Search, add to cart, all of this stuff is just pure abandon. And these are very high contrast elements. In fact, these are brighter than the call to action button. This lime green, it doesn't match the rest of the site, but it is on the white. It doesn't really pop the way this red, blue, and cyan does. I have to ask you this. If you paid someone to get to your website and they're considering your product, why on earth would you send them off to Mark Zuckerberg? There is no reason for you to put social media icons on a landing page or on a product page. Wait for the thank you page or the receipt page. That's when they're really grateful, when they think you're awesome. That's when you want them connecting with you on social media. It is much harder to get people from social media back to your site. Take advantage of them while you're there. A landing page's second job is to get them to take action, but that is not the action the landing page wants them to have. So you're going to break your landing page's heart if you're sending them off to all of these other options. Whenever somebody's decided to make a decision, when they've decided to take that action, the first thing they're going to do is look for a way to delay it. And social media icons are an excellent way to kill a little time while you're like, am I really sure? So I'm going to give them a minus on the argon here. Again, some of these things are out of their control. All in all, I think this page is a great example of a product page. We generally see the best results with the images on the left like this. I think you could do some testing around how you arrange the items on the right there. Some more trust symbols up here. Here you can see some trust builders. Great use of borrowing that. Make this button pop more, and I think you're going to have a really, really strong product page, folks. Thank you for submitting that.
Brian, let me interrupt you with a question.
Okay.
A couple of examples ago, you talked about moving things being very important because they draw the eye. So the question is, if moving things are so important, why are sliders seen as such a big no-no?
Sliders move. So imagine we have two reasons that when we test sliders, static images win. Number one is the load time. So these big headers, not only are you loading one big image, but you're loading 4 or 5 big images that have to be sliding through. And number two is motion. So as I said, our limbic system, our monkey brains, our lizard brains are designed to look at motion and make sure we're not in danger, make sure that lunch hasn't shown up, or make sure that our next date hasn't shown up. And so as I'm reading the copy on your page, something moves up there. I have no choice but to look. So I've just taken myself out of your story, out of the value proposition that you're building with the copy, with the images, and with the proof and trust catalysts that you've got. So every time that thing moves, I have to look again. Sliders are for marketers who can't figure out what their most important value proposition is and put it on a slide. It's like, oh, people might like this or might like that. Landing pages, we know what they're looking for because we made the promise and we're keeping the promise. There's no reason to be moving things around on the page. Keep the promise, make that your hero shot, do that, make it do it awesome, and then stop moving stuff. So does that make sense?
That makes sense to me. I think that's awesome. Okay, I have another question for you.
Okay.
For home loans and products or industries that require more detailed information than a landing page provides before an actual quote, what could be a decent CTA for the contact us form? So basically, you can't put all those details in the landing page. How do you get them to contact you?
So what was the industries for selling homes? It was for real estate?
Home loans or
Oh, okay.
anything that requires that kind of, personal information.
Yeah, so inevitably you're going to have some sort of interim conversion there. When you've got a considered sale, like a home loan or like a business software system, where you've got not only a considered sale but a whole group of people that are going to be involved in the decision, your primary goal on the landing page is to build your list, to generate leads. So those landing pages have to offer something of more value than a name and the threat that the person's going to be spammed or contacted by somebody unpleasant. So this is where you see in considered purchases, informational offers, ebooks, reports, results, maybe even something as simple as being able to do a loan comparison of some sort, using these relevant tools to get people to stand up and say, yes, I'm looking for a loan. I mean, if your offer was the 15 scariest things you can do when considering how to finance your house, you know that the people that are coming looking for that are probably in the market for a loan. And then you need your machine to kick up and use email and phone to go ahead and get them through the process of completing all of the things. Even if you've got an online process where they're coming to an application that's going to take them through and answer all of the questions, you can still use these micro conversions to get things going in your funnel. So that's more of a funnel question. Now, a landing page, there is no, we have pixels are essentially free. The landing page can be as long as you want. There actually is no reason that you couldn't put the entire application process on the landing page. More likely, you're going to ask the first 2 easy questions, probably the name and their email address, their phone number, and click next step, and then take them through a wizard, which will get them through the loan application process. All the landing page has to do is keep the promise and get them to take that first action, even if it's a longer series of things. But you can create a microsite with multiple pages, but in most cases you're able, as in a product page, to put everything you need for them to make a decision on that page. Product pages have specs, product pages have pictures, product pages have warranty information, product pages have comments, social proof, ratings and reviews. Product pages have all this stuff on them. And yet we don't blink about building all of that into our product pages. Recommendations of other products, accessories you should buy with them. So don't underestimate the amount of stuff you can put on a landing page. Does that
Excellent.
work?
Yeah, thanks. Okay, on to the next review.
Okay. I pulled this one up because I think its primary problem is the use of business porn. In particular, here in the middle, you're going to see, and here, I don't know if this is actually a picture outside of the university. It would have been great if they'd have said the Amon Carter Business Center. I suspect this is just a stock photo of some guy looking at himself in the mirror and not a student. So this is just wasted space. How I mean, we have people with ties, therefore we're a good MBA company, good MBA school. I don't think so. I don't think you can write a reasonable caption for this other than we like the way we look. We are learning that the MBA here is flexible. And this is all part of the offer, you know. Offer an image of the things we're looking at here. It's flexible. The caption under this is, it's so flexible that we know how to use a typewriter. I mean, a laptop. What is this saying? Is this trying to say all of our classes are online? Some of our classes are online. What is the caption? What does this mean? We are respected. This lady is smiling because we're respected. I don't know who she's smiling at. I don't know if she's smiling because she just got a date. I don't know if she's smiling because she just won the lottery. What does this mean? And then affordable. So we see a calculator. So yeah, I guess we could stretch that and say, oh, when I'm calculating how expensive college is going to be, I will use a calculator. But couldn't we do something better with this image? How about a graph of how much debt people leave with at other colleges versus us? I mean, if you're affordable, you should be scoring well on that. Number 2, in the most inexpensive universities, do something with it, advance it. The only thing that I would commend on this is that they do use some video. This is testimonial video, great use of image, so they don't get a total ding. In terms of offer, there is a secondary offer here for an app. Now, so this page is supposed to be keeping a particular promise. The primary call to action offer is request a prospectus or request an MBA prospectus. Or we can continue. I know that this is necessary over in the European Union, but that's one of the most, that looks like equally as important as requesting a prospectus. That should be in a different color that makes it less important. Kind of like this one. This one is faded back a little bit. So from an offer standpoint, it's got a clear offer. It's got ways to take action. The form is there. There's a lot of posing here. I wish some of these images had been used to build proof, and I don't think they did a good job doing that. There are some trust symbols here. We've got the university here, logo here. I'm assuming that this is something important. It may just be pretty. So they got the trust symbols. You know, it's kind of wishy-washy on the images. But from an Argonne standpoint, there's some navigation that can drive us away. I don't mind navigation in the footer, but I don't see any social media symbols, which, you know, when you're targeting students, you think that they're all on social media. So I'm going to say that Argonne's okay. And so I think the opportunity is lost in not using images to move their value proposition forward on this page. How are we doing on time, Catherine?
We have about 5 more minutes.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about load time real quick. So
Okay.
When your page is loading, if it has to do that little spinning thing, you're in trouble. This is just not acceptable, especially from a streaming company who's supposed to be all about action. Consider your load time. The size of your images, very, very important when you're building out your landing pages. I think that this is an example that might relate to the question we had earlier. Jack's Federal Credit Union, they are looking to sell refinances. I'm not sure what the promise here is. I hope that the ads are saying same car, lower rate, so they're refinancing an auto loan at lower rate, shorter term. The call to action clearly bounces right out at you. Refinance now. Something I want you to keep in mind is when you are designing your pages, width is important. It is very hard to read um, a line and figure out where you need to get back to from the end of this line to the beginning of this line, and it makes it very, very hard to read. It also looks intimidating. Always have your designer bracket things in so that you've got relatively narrow columns of copy, or use much larger fonts. These fonts might be a little bit small. But I think, so there is an offer here. It's car refinance. We're getting that. We have a very simple form. I think that's done well. We have a little bit of proof here with trust building in the form of a testimonial. And as I said, those kind of cross the line. Some proof symbols here at the bottom. Very nice, very important. From images, again, I think that this is something that you should look here at, is that they have actually integrated text into the images. So if you just have one of those things that you can't take a picture of, can't do a drawing of, or can't do some sort of a rendering of, such as a PDF or a video course, go ahead and take an image, but put the caption with it, either in the image or below it, to drive home the points. So rates, compare our rates, calculate your payment. Again, we're looking at a calculator. I think that that's so lazy. And get a quote, exclusive member, savings on car insurance. I'm not even sure what that image means, but I did see get a quote, so I hope that that's what that button would do. So on images, I think that these guys get an I don't know what all of this sparkly stuff means. Must be a wild car or something. We've got your traditional navigation, and we've got social media. If you're going to put social media on a landing page, that would be the place to do it. But even here, you can see it looks like one of the most important things on the page. It's going to be seen. So I'll give, kind of an maybe on the Argonne. This is what happens when you don't start with a pure landing page. We have got all kinds of stuff over on the left distracting us. Oh my God, you want to talk about distraction? This is the most distracting way. My friends are showing up on this page. Of course I'm going to go off to Facebook. The testimonials are buried over here, unfortunately. Call to action, boom, pops really nicely. I wish that this photo had a caption, but you can tell that this is not a stock photo. Nicely done, but if you think people are going to share the page, fine, but this is not the action we want people to take. This is the action we want people to take. So I wouldn't waste precious space and confusion by putting social media icons on there. This is a blog page. It's got its limitations, but it goes on and on and on. Again, more captions, please. More captions, please. What is even the point of this map? All in all, I think that this page has too much going on. Fortunately, they do have some sort of a dripping pan, although it's a little bit different. There are two offers at the bottom. Usually not a good idea. This one was very simple and straightforward. It does show the product. This one was a little bit light on offer. This is also the product over here. So this could have had some more proof and trust built into it. Transform your lecture this summer. This one was interesting to me because the form takes up the center of the page. So I get transform your lecture this summer, plus get a free iPad, but I really don't know what they're selling. What does Top Hat sell? And then I'm asked to fill out a form with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that I have to choose. You can create forms that will advance your value proposition. If it said interested in learning software, learning solutions, then complete this form, but it just says interested. So I'm asking people to do all this stuff, and I haven't even told them what I've got and what they're going to get from it. So this is a total breakdown of offer. Evolve your lecture into an interactive experience. Nobody wants that. They want to make things easier, more engaging. They want their students to learn more. They want to sell more. So these are just headlines that are high level, not keeping promises. I promise you, if your ad says transform your lecture this summer, no one's going to click on that. So this one really falls down in the offer department in my book. A little bit on the offer on this was, if you read it there, it's there at the top of the form here. and it's also repeated down here in the dripping pan. Register for NIBOSH IGC and get IOSH Medic plus Medic First Aid for free. I assume that they're selling to people who are going to know what all this means, but you want to talk about a total downer offer. And then they say, submit to our acronyms. You have been hijacked and will now be in an acronym world. I don't know what you do with this. Think about your offers, please, and do them in a language that is not only clear but emotional. There's nothing emotional about NIBOSH IGC and get IOSH plus, unless maybe some of you guys are excited about that. I know I'm not. Long forms. This is the long form. Actually, I put this in there because it's a great joke. This is the Nadia Yoga School, Nadia Yoga Teacher Training. I love it when the name really aces the promise, because you come to this page if you're not a yoga teacher. You want to learn to be one. So I think this gets my award for best kept promise. If they even named the school to support the landing page, because you're not a yoga teacher yet. And I think I'm going to end on that note. I think that's my last example, if we haven't gone too far over.
Oh, I think we're good. Yeah, we haven't gone too far over. Excellent. Anything else you want to say about this, or are you done?
I'd really recommend pulling down the ROI checklist, folks. I really put a lot of time into helping make it helpful. It will help keep you on the discipline for straight and narrow if you believe in the approach that I'm taking here. And don't be embarrassed when you go look at your landing pages and suddenly, because you have clarity about what we're trying to accomplish with a landing page, feel a little bit embarrassed. One of the biggest problems with this presentation is people don't share it with their boss very much, because it highlights some of the things that we all do. And, landing pages are complex and difficult, and you have to make a lot of decisions as you're going along. So definitely don't beat yourself up if you don't have all of the elements in all of your landing pages. Definitely come and join us on the Conversion Scientist blog. We are a teaching organization, so you will continue to learn a lot, I hope. And I really, really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Brian. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much for putting all this together.
Okay. All right. We'll see y'all next time.